Welcome to Midday Live. I am Portia Gabo. In the course of the bulletin, you can get interactive with us, facebook.com/TV3Ghana, twitter.com/TV3Ghana. And coming up, the headlines this afternoon. And persons living with disabilities in Kumasi threaten to disrupt inauguration of redeveloped KJTR markets. And the Bureau of Public Safety raises concerns over disrespect and lack of trust between the public and the police. In international news, New Zealand cabinet backs tighter gun laws after attack on 2 mosques left 50 people dead. In our very first story, government has condemned the attack on 3 Ghanaian Times journalists by police officers last Thursday. Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah said government has taken a keen interest in the matter and will work with the Interior Minister to ensure that the matter is dealt with. He spoke at a media engagement on Sunday. Let's listen to him.
Attack by the police on some reporters of Ghanaian Times. I'm not too sure if it was necessarily an attack on them for practicing journalism, or this is just one irate officer who decided to attack citizens who happened to be journalists. It is condemnable. I have spoken to the editor of the Ghanaian Times within hours of picking up that information, and we've asked them to formally write to us so that we also engage quickly with the Interior Ministry and the police service to quicken their investigation and find the particular officer or officers responsible and ensure that the necessary disciplinary processes are taken. The level of force that police officers are allowed to use always is expected to be reasonable force and on probable cause grounds. So it will be important to have this matter very quickly investigated and the necessary disciplinary sanctions brought to bear on the particular officer or officers involved in that exercise. But tied to that also is this video going viral of a police officer who is also being attacked, I think by a driver and a conductor of a vehicle. Again, that will be condemnable as well. It is my understanding that, as is done in these matters, the police will seek to do a quick investigation and find the persons responsible. If you assault a peace officer or a public officer, there are consequences for it. And it is my understanding that they will also be doing that investigation in that regard. I think the important thing is to ensure that both matters are happened with the same level of, or are handled with the same level of seriousness, not that when it affects the police then it's handled well, and then when it doesn't affect the police then it's brushed under the carpet.
Meanwhile, the Bureau of Public Safety says it has observed with grave concern a growing and disturbing trend of mutual disrespect for freedoms and lack of trust between civil society and the police. But why this point of view? Nanaya Wakwada is the Executive Director at the Bureau of Public Safety. And Nanaya, what really is the import of these concerns that you're raising?
Well, thank you very much and good afternoon to your viewers. Portia, I can't pick up your words clearly, so the question is really not coming through as desired. Are you able to...
Yes, you spoke of mutual disrespect between civil society and the police, and I'm asking what really is the import of these concerns that you're raising?
Well, you know that in every democracy, the most visible manifestation of government authority is the police service. And so whenever the authority of the police service is attacked or physically challenged, like we have seen in the last week, it gives rise to concern. Concern for public tranquility and concern for the continuous development of our democracy.
Hello, Nanaya.
Yes.
So what effect could this have on the general safety on Ghanaians?
I can hear you.
I was asking, what effect could this have, this mutual disrespect that you're talking about? What is the effect on the general safety of Ghanaians?
Okay, sorry, but the line is a bit muffled, so I can barely hear you. But if I understand, well, we need to appreciate the fact that in the midst of mistrust, the appropriately. In the midst of the grave mistrust that has arisen between the citizens and the police, we cannot run our society in a very tranquil manner. There is a need, therefore, to open up space, create the institutions that the people trust, that the people can always approach when they feel slighted or they feel aggrieved by a police action. They can go and lodge a complaint and believe that they will be listened to in a fair environment, that at the end of the day, they are going to have justice. In the absence of such a creation, the citizens will continually take their destinies in their own hands, and whenever they feel aggrieved, they will attack the police or get back at the police. In the video, one of the videos that you cited involving the driver and his mate attacking the police, you could hear citizens in the background saying, "Mumbono, Mumbono," to wait, beat him, beat him. This should be an eye for all concerned officialdom, or all concerned people, managers of our police institutions and watchers of our democracy, that we must take urgent steps to address this mistrust that has arisen between the police and the citizenry.
Nana, you did talk about urgent steps. What are these steps that you recommend?
Well, we have called for the setting up of a police complaints commission, a police complaints body, an independent body. We have called for the police to prioritize basic police operations, and in their transformational agenda, prioritize such basic police operations and inject professionalism into it. In the last 2 years since we heard of police transformation agenda, I have interfaced with the police a couple of times. I have not seen anything that shows that there is a transformation agenda being rolled out. We need the police to begin to make this demonstrable. It must be evident on the street that basic police operations are being approached now with a high sense of professionalism. We need to prioritize those ones. And then thirdly, we need to educate the citizenry on their civil rights and responsibilities, so that in engaging with the police, they know what their limits are and what avenues are also available to them in the event that they come engage, they come in close contact with the ugly and the bad aspect of policing.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. And Nana Yawakwada is the Executive Director at the Bureau of Public Safety. Still watching Midday Live from the News Hub. Let's now focus on the labor front. And the Coalition of Private Nurses has given government 10 working days to seek financial clearance and employ them or risk a nationwide demonstration. At a press conference a while ago, the group indicated it will not back down their plans to demonstrate if government fails to heed to their demands. And my colleague Daniel Upoku was at the media briefing and joins me on the phone. And good afternoon, Daniel. Well, let's go back to the story and listen to it.
I want to state clearly that the government of the day is an anti-private nursing institution government. So we are giving the government 10 working days. 10 working days to reply this letter. And we will press on our demand until civil societies get to understand that we are being untreated unjustly, and until the government hears us. Hence, we are going to hold a mega demonstration. Dubbed Kume Prekun, Private Nurses Demo, to share our grievances to all Ghanaians in the event of not hearing from the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, and the government as a whole within 10 working days.
People are out there seeking for our help. People are dying because of shortage of staffs. I've been touring almost every part of Ghana. We have people who are dying because of their age. We have people who are dying because they need an assistant from a nurse. We have people dying day in, day out. But these young ones are sitting home doing nothing. What does the government want them to do? I have a colleague whom I completed school with. As I'm talking to her, she's selling kinky. Is that what the government wants? Is that what the government wants?
Let's now go to the Ashanti region, where persons living with disabilities in Kumasi have threatened to disrupt the inauguration of the redeveloped KJTR market if city authorities fail to redesign roads along the project site. The persons living with disability claim most of the pedestrian crossing across the reconstructed roads are not accessible to them. Ashanti regional correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar has been assessing the situation and reports.
Part of the KJTR redevelopment market project, the government reconstructed the KJTR roads to ease vehicular and human congestion here. Well, everything is set for the market to be commissioned, and in some few months' time, the government will commission the market. The city authorities have also opened up the road to make vehicular and human movement very easier. But one challenge here is that most of the places demarcated for zebra crossing is not accessible to persons with disability.
Our concern is this major project that has gone on in Ashanti region here, all known as KJTR project, is ongoing. And we as a person with disabilities across the Ashanti region here find it difficult in accessing this routes that is demarcated as zebra crossing for all of us. We find it that there are some barristers in the middle of the road, and if a person in a wheelchair is trying to cross the road, you see how difficult he suffers unless somebody helps him from the back. So these are challenges that we want our stakeholders to know, especially our mayor and our president and Utumfo, to get to know of these challenges that we persons with disabilities are going through. We want immediate changes or to make it accessible for persons with disabilities. Else, on the day that they are coming to commission this project, all of us will come in here and demonstrate against the inaccessibility of this route for persons with disability in the country.
Efa zebra crossing num se ye ti wheelchair ni eduru ho a yentimi en cross kwan no last me twam nyame kwan ka driver bi kura de car bo me so obegina ho no ama obi apia me no ne bu afu o de car na be bo me enti esre aban ene me yo okumase ene mpanyimfo mo okumase o mo ka bia o man duru dwom se esre o mo meboa en na zebra crossing no o meye o mo mema ne nkofom level sa uti wheelchair na wo ba obetimi akọ enye yanko enkokorafo anem no afo ene sabi obi okra osono ma pa opa bi osono ma odu ha wetimi teto ne na polipe no ate ato ba ma ya amna da forma ebe boa obi anye ya ndisable fo nkwa na yeka sa monye man se ne ebe ya yenso ye be krombe digwa ye be to ade ye tu kwan ye ko ba bi bebre ye sra momwa yen se ne ebe ya ebe boa anye sa ye bre pa wo ha.
Well, their plea is simple. They want city authorities to reconstruct this portion of the road to make it accessible to persons with disability. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3, Kumasi.
You're watching Midday live from the News Hub, and the love story between Eric and Mary is a remarkable one. Well, after years of courtship, the couple, who are both deaf, decided to get married in an inclusive wedding ceremony at the Church of Christ in Accra.
It was an eagerly anticipated wedding ceremony attracting not only locals in the church. Eric Sapi, the bridegroom, nervously awaited his bride. Some are here at the Church of Christ Circle branch out of sheer curiosity. But for others, including members of the Church of Christ, the ceremony was nothing new. The pastors here have blessed dozens of marriages involving deaf couples in what could be described as an inclusive wedding ceremony. As the congregation waited for the bridal party, they communicated among themselves. Around 11, the bridal party finally arrived. Then the choir, which comprised the deaf, entertained in their own way. The couple then exchanged vows with the help of an interpreter.
I solemnly vow as my lovely wedded wife.
And when Eric professed his love for Mary, she was visibly emotional.
You know, deaf people have embraced a culture where they live as boyfriend and girlfriends, and this has been for many years. To them, they see nothing wrong in that. But when they came to this church, we have been teaching them, counseling them, guiding them that, you see, if they want to be like they are hearing brethren, then they should also learn to be like them.
When the ceremony came to an end, I seized the opportunity to congratulate them and asked how they met through an interpreter.
I met Mary and then taught her. As at that time, she wasn't my girlfriend. I only taught her, and then she got done, and then we came here. So later in time, she came to visit the church. When she comes, I am the one, or I'm often the preacher for the day. So after the sermon, she would tell me, oh, congratulations, I like the way you taught. So through that, we became friends. Then I proposed to her, she accepted, and then today we are married. Because Eric is so special to me, that is why he proposed and then I accepted. I don't need other men.
Eric and Mary are hopeful their story will inspire many, especially persons living with disability, to believe in love.
I promise you that I'll love you, and now you have seen I have honored my promise to marry you. I pray that we continue in our marriage.
Poshigabo, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, congrats to Eric and Mary. Still watching Midday Live from the News Hub. And executives of TEU and FUSAG are on the University of Ghana campus and are currently holding a press briefing to address issues affecting their welfare. Let's now go on the phone line and speak to our correspondent, Kwesi Asare. Now, Kwesi, what are the concerns being raised by TEU and FUSAG?
All right, thank you very much, Portia. So it has to do with a directive from the National Council for Tertiary Education seeking to stop senior members from receiving overtime allowances. And this, according to executives, is a very, very bad policy and will trickle down to even the junior staff. It has the tendency of affecting them as well. There's been a lot of protest here by the members and executives. We've seen over 100 of TEU and FUSAG members gathered here this afternoon, essentially deliberating on this matter, all clad in red. What they intend to do is that by Thursday, they're going to come out with a petition to be presented to the registrar, after which further protest actions will be taken if nothing is done to address their concerns, for sure.
So their next line of action is to present their petition?
Well, so like I said, they're going to wait until Thursday. In the meantime, they've instructed their members to take certain actions, very, very bad consequences, are likely to be taken if the university or the management do not address the concerns. They intend to close down a number of the offices. They intend to halt working activities. These are part of a series of sorts of actions that will be taken if nothing is done to address the concerns. Essentially, what they're saying is that the National Council for Tertiary Education is seeking to replace the overtime allowances with a call-in allowance. Now, for the overtime allowance, what they do is that they get over 75% of their basic salary. And with this new call-in allowance, they just are entitled to not more than 10% of their basic allowance. So that really is a disadvantage to them. And what they're saying is that they are preparing their working conditions to advantage for sure.
Thank you very much for your time, Kwesi Asari. You're still watching Midday Live from the News Hub. Coming up is the MTN video report. And today, our concerned citizen reports on the state of an electricity pole at Adaklu-Heletbe in the Volta region. You can also send your video reports via WhatsApp 055-143-3044. Let's now go to Adaklu-Heletbe.
This is Adaklu-Heletbe. Look at the pool. On my is lapsing. We call ECG for 1.5 months now. They refused. All that they said is that it's a procedure. They wrote for a pool for 1.5 months now. They don't even know that this is an emergency until something casualties arise. Then they will be running that they are coming to solve the problem. And we are not going to wait till something happens before we forward this to the public to see what actually ECG people are doing. They are in this town every month collecting their bill, but they can't solve the problem for us.
You can also send your video reports via WhatsApp 055-143-3044. You're still watching Midday Live from the News Hub. We have more news coming up shortly. Do stay with us. In business this afternoon, an 11-member trade mission from the Netherlands, led by Netherlands African Business Council, is in Ghana to explore business opportunities in Ghana's horticulture sector. The trade mission is focusing especially on input supply and agronomic advice.
HortiFresh Business Platform Meeting is an event organized quarterly to bring together key service providers, producers, processors, traders, wholesalers and retailers in the fruit and vegetable sector in Ghana. The stakeholders provide advice on the course and direction and how available funding opportunities can be used to improve the sector. Delivering the keynote address at the business platform meeting, Director of Value Chain and Logistics at the Trade Ministry, Papa Bartels, indicated that the trade mission exemplifies the country's development agenda of Ghana Beyond Aid.
The Netherlands, the Dutch people have invested quite significantly in the country. And currently, when you talk about the top 10 investments, you can always count the Netherlands in. And I think that is good. And with our agenda of growing and becoming a country that is Ghana Beyond Aid, it calls for partnership. It calls for a certain kind of engagement to shore businesses up. This country is ripe for business.
The Deputy Netherlands Ambassador to Ghana, Kajala Sir, said the mission confirms her country's focus on promoting agriculture through private sector participation and investments. Small and medium-scale enterprises in the vegetable sector have the opportunity to submit innovative business ideas to address gaps in the value addition and alternative market arrangements.
Let's go to the Eastern region, and work is progressing steadily on the Tema Akonsumbo Impakadan Rail project. Contractors say the 97-kilometer rail line is expected to be completed in June next year.
A delegation led by the board chairman of the Ghana Railways Development Authority visited the Eastern Rail Project. The Tema Akosombo Impakadan Rail Project starts from the port to Impakadan in the eastern region. Culverts, bridges and road diversions are at the completion stage. Government's efforts at building an integrated intermodal system of transport to ease pressure on the seaport is gaining significant grounds. The project is a partnership between the Ghana Railway Development Authority and Afcom Infrastructure Limited of India. Contractors assured the project will be completed on schedule, barring any unforeseen events.
Challenge of construction for this bridge is the depth of the water. Here standing depth of water is about 25-26 meters.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Railways Development Authority hinted that all compensations will be paid to affected persons whose building will.
Compensation has been deposited in the accounts of the Railway Development Authority. This has been done following the assessment done by the Lands Commission, whose remit it is to go on site to do two things. One, evaluation of crops, because there are farms as well that have been taken over, and evaluation of land. And and so both have been done, and they've been categorized or separated, and then the quantum of sum has been put into the account of the authority.
Board chair of the authority, Nana Edujemfi, was impressed with the level of work done so far.
The global picture that we have obtained, both from the presentations and from actual visits on the site, is a reality that actually things have moved very positively.
And Minister of Railway Development, Joe Gatti, says developing the country's railway infrastructure will reduce the cost of business. He was speaking at the induction ceremony of the Chartered Institute of Supply Chain Management in Accra.
You could not have been at a better place than at this time, where you have the opportunity to participate not only in this very exciting sector, but all other exciting sectors that we are involved in today as a nation. Our aim is to reduce the cost of business. It is said that the transportation of goods by railway is about 25% cheaper than the transportation of goods by road. It also saves our roads.
Minister of Railway Development, Joe Gatti, observed ignoring the railway sector has negatively affected the development of the country.
That became the anchor of our economy from 1890s. To when we discovered oil, was influenced to a large extent by the introduction of the railway line, which involved the management of the movement of goods. It was logistics that transformed this nation. I think we stand at a crossroads because, as the President has said, one of maybe the tragedies of our post-colonial development is that we totally ignored our railway. Because it transforms nations, and we are on the verge of transforming this nation.
President of the Chartered Institute of Supply Chain Management, Ghana, Robert Okra, emphasized the need to develop other transportation systems for economic growth.
We know, for example, that some of the networks that are being developed also have these intermodal linkages, and we are confident that the railway line from Tema will link up with the Volta Lake at Akosombo or in Pakadan to move stuff by lake up country. And that way we save a lot of money.
Supply chain management is the broad range of activities required to plan, control, and execute a product flow from acquiring raw materials and production through distribution to the final consumer in the most streamlined and cost-effective way possible.
And that's it for business news. For more news, log on to our website at 3news.com. We have more news coming up shortly. Do stay with us. Ghanaian rapper Nanaya Odoeje, popularly known as Trigmatic, was involved in an accident over the weekend. Well, according to the live singer, the accident was caused by a broken down truck parked by the roadside. The rapper, who came out of the accident safe, took to social media to thank God for sparing his life and also to bemoan the level of indiscipline on the roads. The Something Day singer shared images of his wrecked vehicle with the caption, "Thank God for my life. This could have been something else, but I'm safe. All these broken trucks should be taken off our roads. The level of indiscipline on our roads is so bad. I shook, man. God save us." In other news, two of Ghana's filmmaking powerhouses, Kofes Media and Old Films, led by Peter Sedufia, have entered into a partnership to co-produce movies. A yet-to-be-shot movie titled Away Bus is expected to throw a special spotlight on highway robbery and how it could be checked.
If you listen to the cast list, it's quite star-studded, and there is a reason that we do that. However, we also have some new talent that we are introducing through this film.
The two filmmaking hubs have an enviable track record of producing top-class movies. Kofes Media boasts of productions like Calibos in China, Amachi and Didi, and the ever-controversial John and John. Old Films production, on the other hand, is credited with films like A Master and Three Maids, Side Chick Gang, and the FESPACO award-winning film Kiteke. Aside entertaining film enthusiasts, the yet-to-be-shot comic movie Away Bus will offer education and raise awareness on the cash and carry system, as well as highway robbery.
It's a story of two sisters, Bibi and Nkiki. And they have to raise 20,000 Ghana cedis to save their dying mother. And with the system of cash and carry in hospitals, they have to do that within 12 hours lest they lose their mother. So when all helps had failed, they resorted to bus robbery.
So we're also using the film to address the issue of security on our highways. We also want to address the issue of how to relate or what kind of composure to keep when you are attacked by armed people.
The would-be star-studded movie features celebrated names like Ajetianan, John Dumelo, Miki Osei, Lydia Forson, Kalsum Sinari, Fela Makafui, and a host of others. The film will also feature Ejako, Akrobeto, Yaudabo, and Ahonfe Patri. 6 new faces will be featured in Away Bus.
The idea behind using all these stars, of course, aside commercial value, is also to let these new faces be able to ride on the successes and on the fame of these stars.
The cast were excited to be part of the epic film. Shoot for Away Bus will begin on March 23. Away Bus is expected to hit the cinemas on April 20, 2019.
That train was for us, boy, and now we missed it.
For more news, log on to our website at 3news.com. And that's it for Midday Live. Thanks so much for watching. I am Portia Gabo. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good afternoon.